Seriously, babe?
What, everyone on the internet says you're supposed to agitate. It's not a big deal. There we go. Alright, what's up, lawn nerds? How you guys doing? It's Justin from Tompkins Lawns. I've got a beautiful day out here today. It's November 6, 2020. I'm sitting here on my rock pile. I don't know what I'm going to do with these things yet, but we got to figure that out. That's probably a next year project, a 2021 project. But today's project is figuring out what kind of soil you have in your lawn. And I'm going to show you how you can do that today. But first things first, let's talk about the tools you're going to need and how we're going to figure out what kind of soil you have in your lawn. All right, first thing you're gonna need is a container for the soil. I'm using a food container that I have here lying around at the house. A lot of people use mason jars, such as this. Now, this is a little bit smaller than what I wanna use, so I'm not gonna use this. The next thing you're gonna wanna have on hand is just a small of Dawn dish detergent. You just use that to kind of separate the materials, the soil materials in the jar after you mix them. And the third thing you're gonna need is just soil and water, which are obviously we all have, so that's not an issue at all. So now that you know what you need, let me explain how you put it all together to get the results that you're looking for. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go get some soil. After you acquire some soil, you need to sift through it. Pull out the roots, all the organic material, the rocks, get that out of there so it's just down to soil. After it's been sifted, pour that soil into your container. I'm gonna do a little more than just about halfway on this food container. Then fill the remainder of the container with water, leaving about an inch air gap up top. Add a tablespoon of Dawn dish detergent to the top of the container at this point and just shake it up. Then all you gotta do is sit and wait. Simple as that. So before you just go dumping all this dirt inside the jar, you're gonna wanna pick out the rocks like this. You saw I pre-screened it, but it's not perfect. Anyhow, I'm just gonna take a handful, screen it, dump it in the jar. So just wanted to show you, get it all in here so you have it a nice little organized spot where you can grab from. Once you have that jar about half full, then you're good. You stop, you need water. That's what you're on to the next step. The next step is to add the water real quick. Don't take much. And you want to leave about an inch air gap. So that's actually going to come down as that water kind of soaks in. The next thing you want to do, add about a tablespoon of Dawn dish soap like that. And then the last thing you want to do is agitate. Agitate, agitate, agitate. All right, so full disclosure, I did this test a couple weeks ago, and this jar has been sitting around for a while. We've got about 2¼ inches of material here, and interestingly enough, it looks like we have about an inch of sand, a ½ inch of silt, and a ½ to 3/4 of an inch clay. So, what does that mean? That means I have a lot more sand in my soil than I thought. So, on 2¼ let's do some quick math here real quick. $44, almost half, almost 50% sand. It's about 44% sand, about 22% silt, 33% 0.3 repeating clay, 1/3 clay, almost half, almost, but not quite, almost half sand, and less than a third, less than a quarter silt. Now, actually, that seems like a pretty good split. That's interesting. It's interesting. So I actually have a lot more sand in my soil than I thought. We're gonna transition this to the office. We're going to take a look at the charts that are out there. And with those charts, we're going to be able to say exactly what kind of soil I have. And then we're going to make some actionable decisions on how I'm going to amend this, how I'm going to fix my soil so that it drains better, it holds moisture better, whatever it needs to do, it does it better. All right, let's go. All right, so if you're on the USDA website, and in the description below, I'll provide a link to do this. They have a calculator where you can type in the percents of each type of soil that you found in your soil sample. So in my case, that's 44% sand, that's 33.3% repeating clay, and that's all you need to type in. You can choose the color dot you want to show up on this map. You just click get type, boom, it'll fill in the remaining percent that would fill in your silt percent, and it'll tell you the type of soil that you have, the texture, if you will, in which my case is a clay loam. I have a clay loam soil. My hypothesis, my guesstimate was I had clay soil, and I guess the results would agree that I have a clay soil. Now, I don't have a heavy clay. It's a clay loam. Not completely surprising after we saw the results. Going into this, I expected it to be a little more of a heavy clay than what it actually is. So that's a good thing. That's less work that we have to work on. You can see here, in the middle, it says loam. That's kind of like your ideal soil conditions. When you meet those, you're going to be a lot happier with your soil. It's got a healthy balance. It's just right. If you think back to Goldilocks and the Three Bears, it's not too much clay, not too much silt, not too much sand. It's just right. And that is what we're shooting for. So what does this all mean? What are these different soil types? How do I fix my soil if I have different types of soil? Well, let's talk about that. Let's take a look at each different type of soil and talk about that a little bit further. Clay soils, we'll start there. Clay soils have very small particles, which tends to lead to a lot of compaction issues in your soil. They bind together really tightly. In the summertime, they get dry, they lose their moisture, and it becomes concrete. And your clay soil becomes hydrostatic, which means it repels water. So when it rains, actually the water sits on top and pools and then just washes away. But it does have some positives. Positives being that when it is saturated, it retains that moisture for a longer period of time than other soils do, which is a good thing. Okay. As well, clay soils typically are nutrient dense, which is also a good thing, something that you're looking forward to unlocking when you apply humic acid and sea kelp. Now, the polar opposite of that is sand. Sandy soil has bigger particles, and while it doesn't have compaction issues like clay does, it's very nutrient poor. It doesn't have a lot of the same nutrients that you're going to find in your clay soils and even your silt soils. Now, silt soils also happen to be very fertile, but they also, because of their medium particle size, right, their intermediate particle size, they also can run into compaction issues similar to clay. Now, fortunately for silt, though, it has a very nice moisture retention, a very nice drainage property to it, meaning it doesn't hold water for too long, which can be an issue with clay, where you will get moss to develop on the surface. You don't have that issue necessarily with silt. So silt is kind of a happy medium. Like I was saying before with Goldilocks and the Three Bears, it's that just right level that you're looking for. Now, all that being said, if you have sandy soil, if you have clay soil, if you don't have silty soil that already kind of has all the qualities that you're looking for, if you have one or the other, how do you fix it? How do you remedy that? That's the whole point of this video, is to determine what kind of soil you have, and then how do you fix it? Well, it's very simple. Just add organic material, add carbon matter, compost. A couple of weeks ago, I did a composting video. Just add compost. It's very easy. It's very easy to get started in composting. Apply compost to the top of your soil. It's what I'll be doing in the spring. I'm going to use what I make, and I'm going to order a truckload of it, and I'm going to spread it on my lawn, because compost has everything you need. It's got nutrients. It has moisture retaining abilities, as well as it provides proper drainage, meaning it's not just going to sit there, it's going to drain through, okay? But it's also going to retain some of that moisture so it can be distributed to your lawn. That's a good thing. I want you to look forward to future videos. Next week, I'm going to be doing a soil test, kind of a follow-up to this video. Make sure you stay tuned for that one. Click the subscribe button if you enjoyed it and you enjoy my content and you want to stay up to date. And if you have any questions or comments, make sure to comment down below, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you, guys.